Chapter 18. Remember who you are. Remember. What a wonderful word. Remember. In remembering who you are, you reignite your spiritual creative potential. Everything that has been discussed and illuminated in this book is for a purpose, and that purpose is to allow you to remember. In a quiet moment, reach inside to the heart-mind, and within the heart-mind, in silence, in contemplation, and in appreciation of the God Spirit that flows through you, ask to remember. Consider the points that have been raised, from the act of creation, to the act of instigating the fall, to the point of forgetting who you are. Every aspect of this book should reignite your creative ability. Ask that you remember, and do not expect to remember in the way that you remember your life on earth. Do not expect to look back to a time when you were younger, for example. Do not expect childhood memories. Expect memories that are stronger, more realistic, and more energized than any that you have experienced since you incarnated into this present form and present life. Ask to sense who you really are. Ask to be reunited with who you really are. Ask to be shown your potential and to experience the wonder of being a creative being freed from the shackles of dogma, freed from the shackles of expectation on an earthly level, and freed from the shackles of responsibility within the confines of society. Ask to experience, and then feel the light well up within you. Then feel a sense of total well-being. Then feel as if you could conquer anything, as if you could project and could create anything, as if you could put right all the wrongs you perceive to be in your physical life, and all the wrongs you perceive across the earth plane at this present time. Because in remembering, you can put right all the wrongs. In remembering, you reach back beyond that time when you fell into a deep sleep, when you became a dreamer of the wrong dream, when you became a prisoner of the illusion that you created. Allow me to repeat that. You became a prisoner of the illusion that you, the listener, helped to create. You created it. You created it because you thought it was right. You created it because you thought it would enhance the way that the creative process from the Godhead unfolded. And then you placed yourself within that mistaken area of perception, and you forgot who you were. Remember that you have not lost who you are. You have not separated yourself from who you are as an angelic being, not totally. You have not severed each connection. You are not less than you ever were. You just believe that you are. Remember that creative ability, in line with God creative ability, that you used for aeons before you fell into the trap of the fall, is still yours. It is yours because at core you have not changed. It is only the outer layers of your vibration that have changed. It is only your perception that has become narrow and a straight ahead, rather than a 360-degree view of things. You are a fragment of a greater angelic being. That is all you have ever been. That is all you have ever been. That is all you will ever be. At this moment, you have entrapped that perception, that acknowledgement of your ability, that release of creative energy that you are capable of in its purest form. You have entrapped it within a confining bubble that is within a greater confining bubble we call the field, that represents the sum total of belief of the angelic children who are operating within this field of illusion and contributing to it day by day as a belief of who they are. Do you feel, do you think, do you believe that you are the flesh that you see when you look in a mirror? Do you feel, do you think, do you believe that you are nothing more than that point of consciousness that seems to be centered around your head and signify you as you? You are so much more than that. And you are so much more than your earthly memories. Your earthly memories are that part of you which is trapped in the fall. They are nothing more than that, but you attach such weight and gravity to them, as though they are you and they are all you are. They are only a surrounding shell of polluted experience that confines your limitless angelic capability. Your true memory is of who you originally were before the time of the fall, and who you still are. I am trying to put into words the need to dispense with the view of your physical life as being all there has been of you. You are so much greater than that. You are so much nobler than that. And the tiny personality that you set such store by is confining and limiting you, according to the desires of the field, as to the great task ahead of you, if you wish to negate the effects of the fall on yourself and on your brothers and sisters around this world. In other words, in order to be the most effective being you can be in the fight to convert the illusion that you find yourself and your brothers and sisters trapped in, and in order to be the most potent weapon for good you can be, you have to access your angelic memories and not your physical ones. I am not saying that you should dispense with your physical memories. Your physical memories are part of the cycle that you are going through at the moment. They are important, and they link you, in a limiting way, to the limited perception of the people who are part of your family, part of your friendship circle, and part of the society that you interact with. But there is a greater store of energy, a greater store of memory, and a greater store of being that you have access to if you wish it. And the people around you, your brothers, your sisters, your husbands, your wives, your mothers, your fathers, your children, each of these points of consciousness is really a small portion of angelic consciousness. If you get back to the basic of who you are, and you remember, and I mean remember in the true sense of the word, i.e., if you reconnect to the whole that you are as part of a greater whole, you are so much more effective in bringing about the change that is needed across this world now. How will you know when you have accessed your angelic memories? Will you remember running around in an earthly paradise? Perhaps with wings and being an angel child? No, it is not that type of memory. You will feel energized in a peaceful, immortal, and powerful way that you have not felt before through meditations. Remembering is knowing that the words that have been put down in this book are correct. At any point when you remember and accept who you are, and you can do it daily or weekly, you can change this world. You become a beacon for light. You become a directional focus for light. You become someone who projects light, and you will find that you can sweep this light around in your knowing of who you truly are to illuminate various areas of your life, the lives you touch, and the lives you ultimately are a part of around the globe. You will find that you can look at someone's illness and see it for what it is, simply a trip in the dark, simply a soul that has become further enmeshed in the illusions of the field, and that you can shine your greater belief of perfection into that illness and around that person and relieve the illness. You will find that you can project the light you wield as an angelic being into any negative situation. And the whole world is a negative situation. But I am talking specifically about conflict, whether that conflict be in an office or in a war zone. You will, with great conviction that is not hampered by the limiting effects of the physical mind, project the light that is yours as your birthright in the divine into that area, be it a small conflict close to home or a huge conflict on the other side of the globe. And you will know that you have illuminated and changed that situation. And your purpose in illuminating that situation is to shine enough light into the hearts of others that they too begin to remember. In remembering who you are, the greater existence and the greater part of you, you have no choice but to forget the things of the field, because the things of the field are but shadows that are chased away when the light is shone into them. And, if and when enough of you remember, and enough of you wield the light, the darkness will be dissipated for good and forever. You will have restored balance, and, at that point, one moment you will be looking with physical eyes, and the next you will be regarding the world as a changed place with angelic eyes. And you will regard each person that you come across as a facet of yourself in the greater sense, and as the facet of an angelic being that they really are. Each of you has tortured yourself for eons. Each of you has stubbornly pursued a negative choice, and supported and upheld that negative choice, believing, at your mistaken core and at the point at which you decided to enter the illusion of the fall, that you were and still are right. Let us look on a personal level. If there was a way to stop yourself suffering, wouldn't you go for it? If there was a way to stop the suffering of your family members, wouldn't you choose that way? If there was a way to stop the suffering of your friends, wouldn't you choose that way? If there was a way to stop yourself suffering physically, mentally, and spiritually, wouldn't you choose that way? If there was a way to no longer have that yearning within you for something that you cannot quite pinpoint, but is always a step ahead of you, so that you are never totally satisfied today, because there is that missing aspect that you may find tomorrow, if you could satisfy that need, wouldn't you take that option? The need you have is to restore yourself to full knowledge of who you are. And the way to restore yourself to full knowledge of who you are is to remember within yourself and to once again accept yourself as what you really are. You are not this flesh. You are not this limitation. You are part of the divine. You are part of a greater angelic being, and it is your role forever and ever and ever to create and to experience and to enjoy and to grow and to evolve. And you will say, Joseph, your way is so simple. And there you have it. The way is so simple. Look at that sentence. The way. The way. Didn't someone once talk of the way, the truth, and the light? The way is so simple. You burden yourselves with, it must be complicated. It must be more complex than that. You say, surely I cannot change the world. And because you are an angelic being, and because you create what you believe to be true, you cannot. It is time to realize that you can. It is time to realize that you will. It is time to realize that you are. Capital Y, capital A. You are part of the divine. You made the decision to put yourself into this illusion. It is now time to make the decision to take yourself out of it. It is as simple as that. It is as simple as switching on the light. For aeons we have attempted to show you this, and we are excited that now, because of the point in your societal evolution when communication is universal, finally we may reach, have to reach, those who are ready to hear these words. You have within you a well of angelic experience. You have created worlds. You have created far more beauty than you can ever imagine with your physical mind. You have created patterns, shapes, colors, and experiences that are exquisite because they are part of the divine intention of ever-expanding and glorifying creation. You have done this. Let me raise you up today as you listen to this book. Are you tired? Are you depressed? Do you feel old? Do you feel confined? Do you feel poor? Raise yourself up. You are a creator of worlds. You are a creator of universes. You are the most glorious, wonderful, everlasting, unchanging, pure, loving being of light. But you have to remember that. Remembering is different from believing. Believing is a wall that you have to shore up daily and put buttresses up against, because you know that someone can come along and say, "This is not the way," and the wall will shake. Are you sure? And the wall will shake again, because you are using belief and you are using the physical mind. The only way to erect a fortification that will not change, that will not crumble, and does not require belief is by remembering. Remember. Be yourself. Do you not say on this level, be yourself? Be yourself, your true self. The only difference between us and you at this point in time is a point of view. Your point of view is clouded. Ours, thank you, Father, due to the cleansing effects of the spiritual spheres, is lighter, is clearer, is more certain. We have complete belief in who we are because we know who we are. But we are linked to you. We are, in the right sense, in love with you. And we cannot leave you here in this illusion. I would speak just for a little time about your lives, because as you listen to this book, which reintroduces to you concepts that are universal and beyond the physical universe, you will inevitably think, because your head center fed by the field will tell you, this is too big for me. My life is 9 to 5. My life is a certain set of boxes that lead to an inevitable box. And I had better enjoy it now using what is on offer, even if it is polluted, because the inevitability of my life ending is ahead. That is all I can see. I am this particular person. I am a father. I am a mother. I am a brother. I am a sister. I am a work person. I am a scientist. I am a driver. I am one of a million things. And I know what my life is. No, you don't. You only perceive through a glass darkly, slowly, narrowly. You perceive so little of what you are, and you are not, as we have said again and again, who you appear to be on a physical level. It is simply a suit of clothes, a badge of honor because you are working out certain things by the long path, but that is all it is. Only when you come to full knowledge again of who you are can you change and expand that view. The great glories of creation we have tried to touch upon in a small way in this book are yours by right, without guilt, without restriction, without people saying you cannot possibly be this, and without you saying I cannot possibly be this. You are a child of God. And in your own hands and at your own heart center lies the way out of the problem that you have at the moment. We worry because we can see the increase in individualization and isolation between you. We can see that, ironically, through the same technology that we are using to spread this message, you are becoming more insular and less able to communicate with your brothers and sisters, even on a physical level. The field at the moment is diminishing you, and diminishing you, and diminishing you, so that at the basic level of communication, you are failing too. You assume that you are communicating. You assume that you are transmitting your beliefs, ideas, and wants to others, but it is empty thought. They are empty words, and you do not see that. In contacting so many, but actually having physical contact with so few, you are further hardening the shell of illusion and isolation around you. This is why it is so important that you remember who you are, that you break that shell around you, that you find yourself able to reach out to and care for others, that you see through the web of deceit that the field has placed around you, and you communicate light, communicate brotherhood, communicate oneness in everything that you do, in everything that you say, and in everything that you dream. You have always dreamt as the angel that you really are. In the beginning you dreamt. You dreamt into reality worlds. You dreamt into reality situations for your benefit and the benefit of others, and also so that you could experience and enjoy every degree of possibility this creative matrix that is yours as a birthright has to offer. You now find yourself using this creative matrix to diminish yourself. Remember who you are. I will help. We will help. For every person who meditates on the meaning of this chapter, we will be there during your meditations to inspire you. Don't look for us. Don't attempt to see us. Some of you will, but don't attempt to see us, because that too is a trap of the physical mind. It is our intent transmitted to you, our love around you and through you, that you will pick up. It is our encouragement to open your angelic eyes that you will feel. It is our support in your endeavours to change the physical world that you can expect from us. Time, as you view it, is growing short. Your lives are growing smaller. The field is growing stronger. And all it takes to change things back to how they were before the fall, which has been said again and again and again by seers and by the ancient religions, is for you to remember your potential. Remember who you are. Don't forget. Is there a question, please?
Isn't the process made simpler by simply quitting the earth, Joseph, and remembering in the higher spheres?
You have to remember too that you have initiated a process, that you have initiated the circular journey we have spoken about in this and other books. You have started certain processes along that journey. You have opened certain wavelengths of energy that need to be concluded whilst you are still in an earthly body. So it is the balance of knowing that you should not return, but also knowing that you can transform the situations you find yourself in. Also remember that those situations you find yourself in are a very strong magnetic pull back to the earth plane unless you have risen above them in knowledge. So the intent of part of your life, once you have remembered who you are, is to illuminate those circumstances and see them fall away here. Also remember that because you are here, you do not know whether you have been pulled back here by your own desire to re-experience energies that you found delightful in the past and situations that you want to re-energize. You do not know whether that is your purpose in being here, or whether you are one of the souls who has elected to come back to spend this particular time in the circle of physical existence, shaking this world out of its belief in the fall. The act of remembering brings to you a warrior stance, a stance for the light. An opportunity, yes, to illuminate yourself and determine that when your time comes to step out of the physical, you will not come back. But also to look at the situation around you and leave your mark. Leave your mark in light that has enabled others to partially or fully remember who they are. I am not supporting an opting out process. I am supporting a process of rediscovery that will quite naturally pull you out of this physical situation once you have left it behind. But I am also asking that, in contacting your angelic memories, you study who you are with regard to you being here. And many of you will find that you have a purpose that you have not imagined before. You will find that your purpose is greater than your 9-to-5 job. Your purpose is greater than what you consider to be your physical life and the track it is on. And that your true purpose is to act as an illumination for others, to help others remember. Remember the chain. Remember that every soul has to come out of the fall. Every soul has to work to bring itself in full consciousness out of the effects of the fall that it put itself into in full consciousness. Like a plant or child, there has to be energy put in order for that plant or that child to grow. The energy that is put in at the moment is the energy of the field. and the energy of the field turns inwards, begins to diminish the physical, and eventually pulls apart the physical, and then has such an effect on the individual that the individual wants to revisit the sphere of the fall. If you are of a mind, if you are generous enough, if you recognize and remember who you are, and that everyone you meet is your brother or your sister, and that this planet too is under your care and guardianship, you have to be brave enough to spend some of your time, and as much of your time as you can donate whilst being in a physical body, feeding others, feeding the child, feeding the world, feeding the planet, feeding the landscape, feeding those things with the right vibration, with the divine vibration that changes and chases away the darkness, that brings in the light that originally was there before the fall took place. So, you in effect escape the moment that you truly remember who you are. You look at the world, but you are no longer of the world. And you are also able to use who you are to change the world, because you are still within it physically. Do you see that?
Yes.
Joseph, I'm not asking this question from the point of view of trying to justify the mistaken fall experiment, but when we're all out of it and it's concluded, will we have brought something very unique to the Godhead? This situation hasn't happened before in the universe, so are we bringing things such as bravery, self-sacrifice and perhaps humour and other unique things? It'll have had some worth in the end, won't it?
You are looking at it, unfortunately, from the point of view of it being a major event. What I would like to point out is that yes, it is a major event from the point of view of being within it, but from the point of view of being outside of it, it is but a momentary vibration within the infinite vibrations and possibilities of everything. What I mean by that is that you are able to look back over the years and centuries and view the world as having been in struggle, and there being noble people and destructive people, and there being a great deal of history because you are immersed in that history. But once you extract yourself from it and are in the spiritual cleansing spheres, you regard that history as a rather diminished thing with regard to its effect on everything else. If you have a stopwatch and you stop the hands at a certain point, that is an analogy I could use with the effects of the fall. The watch was working perfectly and you stopped it by volition. When you restart that watch, how much time has passed? When you restart that watch, it starts again from the point at which it had stopped, and you start it. The fall is a bookmark or a page that has the corner turned down. It is rather less in terms of spiritual everything, in terms of spiritual perception of progress and time, than it appears to be to you with you being in it at this time. You are immersed in a time between times, a time between normal progress and normal progress. You are in a capsule or bubble, and because that is your perception of everything, because all you can see are the effects of the bubble, you believe that the bubble has a great significance. The only significance of the bubble is to get you out of it. That is the only significance of the bubble. That is not to diminish the noble aspects of humanity. That is not to diminish self-sacrifice and bravery and courage and love and kindness and selflessness. But I have to explain that all those things are yours by right anyway. All those things are who you are. When you exhibit those aspects of humanity, you are exhibiting your true angelic temperament. It is not as though there is a great reward waiting for those who have exhibited those aspects of the angelic temperament. What is waiting for those souls is an instant transportation through harmonic vibrations to an area where those higher aspects can be fully expressed. That is the reward. The reward of selflessness and self-sacrifice is to rediscover and remember who you are, and therefore to escape the cycle. This pulls us out of the book somewhat, but the universe has infinite possibilities. The universe has infinite vibrational opportunities to experience bliss and wonder, and instant opportunities to celebrate and worship the divine that runs through you, through what you create. That is, in human terms, a vast and infinite state of being and state of mind. By comparison, you find yourself in a tiny state of mind that you put yourself in, as though you have become trapped in a revolving door or locked yourself in a lift shaft and can't get out. It doesn't mean that there aren't wonderful things beyond that revolving door and outside of that lift shaft, but all you can experience is the revolving door or the inside of the lift. When you remember who you are, you begin to measure this world differently. You begin to see aspects of your life and other lives differently. You begin to put different values onto aspects of living here. Do you see?
Yes, I just thought we might have created some very unique things like food and books and athletics and clothes and architecture that no other angelic host would have done because they don't have the physicality. We have taken something unique back to the Godhead, but I know it hasn't been worth all the suffering.
First of all, you have not yet taken it back to the Godhead. This is the problem. You have not yet taken it back to the Godhead. Secondly, and this is my view, and it is the view of many of the souls that are part of my soul group, if each experience of being, and I mean to be humorous here, was a book on the shelves of a library of possibility of what has been and what could be, and if the fall was such a book, when you came to the last page, it would be our advice to take this book of the fall and walk as far as possible into that library, take it into an empty room, put it on a plinth under a bell jar of glass, and back away from it. And we would hang a notice on the door of that room that said, "Do not touch." The noble thing to do is to move away from the fall, not to discuss what worth it has. Do you see?
Yes. Would we then perhaps work as advisors to other angelic children in the future who might want to go through this experiment, as we could advise them not to do it?
We are looking at areas now that are far beyond the encapsulation of the fall. You are looking at concepts now that are very difficult to put into words. As you eventually and inevitably escape from the effects of the fall, it will be as though you have taken off a dirty vestment and have put on one of light. And in taking off the dirty vestment, you will say, "Well, that didn't really work, did it?" What you have experienced will be written into you as part of your experience, and will be worn as part of the raiment of light that you then have, but it is not something that you will consciously seek to avoid. Our intent is to bring you back into the creative realm. Our intent is to resupply you with that feeling that you do not have now that will prevent you, for ever and ever, wanting to re-experience the effects of the fall. That experience is there as a display within your vibration for others to see, but it will not be a conscious hair-shirt approach to visit other spirits and say, "Don't do this." They will be able, should they wish to, through the universal factor of free will, to see your experience as part of your vibrations. Do you see?
Yes, thank you.
I must vacate now, because I have seriously strained the instrument. God bless until the final chapter of this book.